Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you're all keeping well, and welcome to the second installment in this Python with Docker series. Now, in this one, what I want to do is get FastAPI up and running in a really simple context. So by that, all we're really going to do is have a single page app with a single root. We'll have a requirements file, which is not filled in yet. Once that's up and running locally and we can see it in the browser, we're then going to create our Docker file and then get it running up inside Docker. So let's just go ahead and quickly run something. I'm going to do pip list first, just to show you that I've already got, in this case, I've got Uvicorn installed. I've also got FastAPI installed as well. So these are going to be two things which I'm going to be having inside my requirements file. FastAPI, of course, does all the meat of the operation, basically, setting up all the routes. And Uvicorn's job is there to effectively serve the routes out. So let's go ahead and then do from FastAPI, import FastAPI. Going to keep this as, to be honest, as simple as possible, really. We'll do app is equal to FastAPI, no further details needed. And then here, we'll just do app.get. So if we do a single slash, it's just accessing this on, effectively, there's no like localhost slash something. It's just, if you go to the right port, it's going to be accessible here. And then we'll just do def hello. And in fact, tell you what we'll do, just to make it kind of look like it's updating itself, we'll import datetime like this. And then we'll say now is equal to datetime.now. So this will give us a nice datetime object. And then we'll just do, in fact, we'll return as a dictionary like this. We'll do the key as hello. And then inside here, we'll then do now string formatted time. And I can just pinch this format here, just so that every time we go to this endpoint, we can see something that's actually updating itself. Do this as a raw string. Okay, so the reason I did pip list is to show that I've already got these up and running and installed. And the way we run this is we do Uvicorn like this here. Then you do the name of your module, so main, and then a little colon, and then whatever your application is called. So mine's just called app like this. So do Uvicorn main app. Okay, let's go ahead and run this here. So now in Safari, I can go to localhost 8000. And every time I refresh this, see how the time is changing. I'll just zoom in ever so slightly. So 10:38. So every time I access the root and refresh it, I can see it updating itself here, which is kind of cool. And going back to VS Code, every time we go to the endpoint, we see we get a 200 and OK, and we can see that we're actually getting this route here. So we have a super simple, nice, standard FastAPI application. And the things I'm going to show now, this is going to be working if you're basically doing this sort of setup. So if you've not got a really complex environment using things like poetry, etc., just a simple requirements file, this will work for you. I'm going to be doing a future video on how to get it working with a full package and poetry, etc. But all we're going to be doing is building a Docker file to make this work inside a Docker context. So if I just cancel this off for a second, clear my screen. So let's go into my Docker file, and we've got a few things from the previous video. We're starting off with Python 3.12 as our base, and we've got a working directory. That's all we have currently. So what I now want to do is copy in the requirements file and then run a pip install. My requirements file, however, is blank. So let's run pip list, and let's put Uvicorn in here, and where is the other one? There we go, FastAPI. Okay, we'll just clean this up, equals. So if you imagine this from scratch, so the whole point of Docker really, from my view, is it gives you a perfectly clean, reproducible environment. So if somebody else was to run this, it'll be exactly the same on their machine, effectively the same as your machine, really. They're going to be copying exactly the same image, they're going to be in the same working directory, and then if they do the copying into the requirements file and pip installing it, they're then going to have the same version of Uvicorn and FastAPI as well. So let's go ahead and do copy, and it's going to be requirements.txt into our working directory. So working directory is app. We're saying copy the requirements file into our new working directory, so app. So we've copied in the file. Now we need to do a pip install. So we'll run pip install -r and it's going to be requirements.txt. Okay, that's the pip install done. And in fact, let's just run that here just for a second. So if we do docker build, we'll do -t, we want to tag it as something. So we'll do FastAPI test latest, and then a dot. The dot basically signifies like, effectively do this in my current directory. And because I've got Docker file in my current directory, being this Docker file here, it's going to run. So this is going to build, and let's just go ahead and see what it does. Okay, so we see it did the word directory, it copied in the requirements file, and it then ran pip install requirements.txt. So good start, but it's not quite there yet. Now we want to copy in our code. So we want to copy in main.py into our image. So copy main.py in here like this. Okay, looks good. Now let's go ahead and just clear our screen. And actually, let me just quickly show you something. If I now do docker image ls, there we go, we can see this guy here. And what I want to do is just remove it. So I'll copy the image ID and we'll do docker image rm. There we go, it's untagged and deleted. We now have no images on our local machine. So I'm now going to remove this comment. And let's just, before we do the next bit of running the command, let's just kind of pause and see where we're at. We've got a brand new Docker file, and we're saying, let's go ahead and use Python 3.12 as our base. We've set a working directory as this app folder here. We've then copied the requirements file into a working directory. So imagine we now have an app folder with requirements.txt. We then asked Docker to do a pip install of that requirements file. So that means we've now got Uvicorn and FastAPI installed in Python in our new environment. And we then copied main.py into our working directory as well. What we've now got to do is go ahead and run the command. So just like how earlier on I did Uvicorn main app, we want to do the same thing inside our Docker file, so Docker actually knows what to go ahead and run once everything's installed, copied, and set up. And the way we do this is quite interesting. So if I just head back to my main.py, see we just had to do Uvicorn main app. We need to do those too, but we also need to pass in a few additional things as well. So let me just do this inside some speech marks, and then do the same to this as well. So if we do cmd, and then do some square brackets, and then separate this out here. So imagine this is just like a list of like chained commands to run. So we're saying inside Docker, Uvicorn main app. So this will make something happen, but it's not going to be like as we expect. And there's a really interesting reason as to why that is. So let's go ahead and just build it. Okay, now that's done. We'll then run docker image ls, and we can see we've got our thing here good to go. But if we just did docker run FastAPI, where is she? FastAPI test. Okay, so we can see Uvicorn running on. So same as before, but let's go ahead and try and access it. Okay, I've gone to my web browser, same port, and I can't access it. And this is where things get a little bit interesting and a bit more technical. The reason why we can't access this is because of the way the Docker networks operate. It's basically operating inside its own network inside the container. We have to tell Docker to basically expose this outside the container into somewhere here where we can see it. So let's cancel that. Let's hit clear. And we need to add a few more things here. The first one I'm going to do is add a host argument. So I'll do --host here. And I'm going to put in these zeros here. This basically tells it to run on all interfaces inside the container. I'm then also going to explicitly say you're going to be running on this port, and we'll do port 8000 the same as earlier. So our commands changed a little bit because we're now running inside Docker. These two stay the same. We're saying run on all network interfaces and go ahead and explicitly run on port 8000. So now what I'm going to do is build this, but I want to give it a different name. So I'll bring back my docker build command, and let's go ahead and do this as FastAPI app like this. So docker build, we're tagging it as FastAPI app, and then it's going to be inside our current directory. So we should see the same commands appear. Okay, looks good. I'll do docker image ls, and we can see we have FastAPI app. Now we have to do something quite interesting when we run this, and we have to basically tell Docker that we want to be accessing this port inside the container. So inside the container, it's running on port 8000. We need to basically control how we go from outside the container into the container. And there's a bit of syntax we can use here. So we'll do docker run, and I'm then going to do -p for port. And then this takes two numbers. So if I do 8000 here, this is the port outside the container, and we're then telling it what port to map to inside the container. So we're saying 8000 on my machine, this will go to 8000 inside Docker. And because of what we did here, our FastAPI app is running on this port inside the container. And then we just need to do FastAPI app. So I'll just write it down. FastAPI -app like this. Okay, let's go. So we can now see that Uvicorn's running on all network interfaces, port 8000. And because of this, Docker should now be saying 8000 on our local machine is mapping to 8000 inside the container. And this is telling me that this is running on that exact same port, 8000 inside the container. So now it's cool, when I go to my local host 8000, this is outside the container, but because of that syntax, it's now mapping inside Docker. So that's a really simple take on how you can do that sort of stuff. And of course, every time I refresh, there we go, we can see the date time changing here, which is good. So before we finish, let's just quickly recap what we've done. We've built a super simple API. I mean, it doesn't get much simpler than this, to be honest. I mean, I suppose you could take this out if you wanted to. We then did a requirements file, and this is literally just housing FastAPI to basically do like the actual routing of stuff. And we then also used Uvicorn to run a basic web server. Our Docker file is largely the same as the previous video, especially if you take into just these bits here. The only real difference is the command we've done. And the command is basically directly saying to Uvicorn, go ahead and run main app. So this is my main module here, and the app is just called app. And let's head back. We've told it to bind to all network interfaces inside the container and to explicitly run on port 8000. When we then did our docker run command, rather than just doing docker run image, we had to do this bit here. And this is telling us basically two things. So the left-hand side and right-hand side mean separate things. The left-hand side, this is what's happening on your local machine outside of Docker. This is telling you, okay, if someone comes in through here, where shall they be routed to inside the container? So it's the same port inside the container. So you have to make sure that this lines up with the right-hand side of this. Let's suppose I just did something like, let's do clear. If I did docker run, I don't know, 8010, for example. Okay, so we can see like, even though I did 8010, this still says running on port 8000. That's because of this command here. Like our API is still running on 8000 inside the container, but because I did the left-hand side as 8010, but now if I go to 8010 here, localhost 8010, we can see now it works. So it all depends on how you do that mapping, and of course it's one of the areas that can go wrong quite quickly if you just get one of those numbers incorrect. In future videos, I'm going to be doing this in a bit more of a complex way by using things like poetry to do a full package with multiple routes as well. We also need to look at how to do things like persistent logs and volumes. But if you're in the situation where you're building really simple kind of boilerplate bog standard APIs, this is a simple setup you could take and get to work pretty quickly. Cheers for watching, guys. Hope you all have a great weekend.